Hey, I'm Olive with All Ages of Geek here with
Bernie Lynn from Dead Alive Games.
Dead Alive Games. Have been developing games now for what, 6-7 years?
6-7 years, yeah.
Your most recent game that was one of the bigger ones would be the Cyber Pets?
Yes, Cyber Pet is the game that just hit retail stores 3 weeks ago. We actually did the Kickstarter in May and fulfilled in October, so really quick turnaround.
Really quick turnaround.
Yeah.
So I read that you started out in Star Wars X-Wing and Warhammer 40k.
Oh, yes.
How do you go from there to a lot more miniature light games like Cyber Pets and even Ulra, especially from winning mini paint competitions to this? I'm very curious.
It's definitely an evolution. I mean, we got 7 years to just learn and be in the industry. So we got into it as miniatures lovers, painters, and all that, and just wanted to make a miniatures game that's accessible to as many people as possible. That's where Omicron Protocol came from. Passion project, just spent 4 years on it before we finally got it. After that, then we became a business, right? And you're like, okay, what do you do next? And definitely miniatures game market, as you know, is pretty crowded. Like, how do you fight the Simons and all the like Warhammers and everything? So we're like, we know how to make games. Let's sign someone, a good friend of ours, if they have a good design. That's how Lunar Rush came about. So a lot of people did ask at that time, are you concerned that your next game is a Euro and your first game's a mini? We're like, no. We're all about making high quality games that's accessible to everyone. So that's how Lunar Rush came about.
How do you go from a cyberpunk post-apocalyptic zombie game to a fun romp with pets in the same set?
Yes, magic. We started off with, we wanted to make a story for Jane, the cat, who was also in Omicron Protocol, as you mentioned. And how do you tell the story from her point of view? And part of it is like, okay, we want to make it accessible. In miniatures gaming, yeah, Omicron Protocol is not that dark compared to Warhammer. So it's like, okay, yeah, that's lighter. But if we're going to go with a campaign adventure game, especially if we want to make it open to kids 8 and older or like casual gamers, we want to make it inviting. That was a big discussion on whether we should just change the tone that much or not. And finally, just after a lot of playtesting, showing it to people, we're like, yeah, let's just go all in and trying to get more people go, oh, what is this game? I'm willing to play it because it's about me playing as pets instead of like pets in a dark world where everyone's killing each other. So that's one of the reasons we're like, yes, your question has been asked many times, but I think the decision is the right one just to get more people playing.
I don't think it's necessarily a question of the right or wrong decision. Yeah. It was just an interesting transition. And speaking of over transitions, we've talked about Omicron somewhat as pitched.
Yeah.
We talked a bit about Cyber Pets. Pat also likes asking this question. In 3 to 5 words, how would you describe, you can pick either one.
Okay.
3 to 5 words.
3 to 5 words to describe Lunar Skyline. Trick-taking game double suits.
Well, it's
like play a game.
You went for more mechanics. A lot of people usually go for more tone, but that's interesting.
Yeah, I think the name itself got the tone already. Yeah, so, and trick-taking game, I think with Lunar Rush, 3 to 5 words is going to be hard. I'm always hoping that the title conveys most of what the game is about. Cyber Pet Quest, Lunar Rush.
So you've written a lot of mechanic-heavy games, even Cyber Pet Quest, which is a lot more light in tone, still has a decent amount of mechanics and strategy involved.
Yeah.
What do you think is about strategy games that draws you from X-Wing all the way through where you are now?
I think ultimately it's a challenge. Not just in games, but just in everyday life or work. Anytime I'm not challenged, I get bored and I move on to the next thing. So generally, to me, a good game is one where every single time I play it, I'm always challenged. I discover something new. I discover a new combo, a new way of playing it, and that keeps me interested. So ultimately, we want that in our game, but we don't want the challenge to come from like a rules complexity. So for example, yeah, you could have 10 ways to score, and that's a complex game. But we'd rather have a set of rules. Yes, it's probably heavier than the tone suggests, Cyber Pet Quest, but I could probably explain the rules in 5 minutes and it's on one side of a reference card. It's the challenge is coming with like the positioning, who should be where, how should you help you where, but the order is random, so we gotta prepare for that. That kind of challenge I really enjoy. That's why we put it in all our games.
You started out with yourself and Brett.
Yeah.
How did you start out developing games as a pair? Even though you had similar tastes, I'm sure there was a lot of conflict.
One good thing about this partnership is that we work really well together even when we disagree. So that's key. I think ultimately very honest and and open communication about what we think of the game, the design, each other. Every part of the designing stage is what kept it going. We actually talk about this a little bit between ourselves sometimes. We're glad that if something's bothering one of us about a mechanic, a tone, or anything, we'll bring it up. And if the other person's like, no, it's fine, like, no. Let's talk about this. I notice A, B, and C every time we play test. Let's talk about it. And we will have a very good conversation. And that, I think, throughout all our games, whether we're designing or developing a game, has helped improve the quality of the game a lot.
Where to pick all this up?
Oh, where do you get it? Just come to our website, www.deadalivegames.com, or if you come to any of our social network, it's just at deadalivegames.com. Everything's in a web store. There are a lot of it. The game stores should have our games too, but you could always contact us if you have any questions.
Great.